Hello, my name is Rodrigo, and I'm doing an English class project. I'm going to talk about a book that is called Words Together. I'm going to talk about the chapter 20, and the name of the chapter is Three World Order. So first, in February of 1945, the three leaders of the World War II, the Allies, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt of the United States, Prime Minister Winston Churchill of the Great Britain, and Premier Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union. They met to prepare for the post-war world. By then, Germany, Italy, and Japan were losing the war, but the world's reordering was a source of deep contention, for the three leaders had profoundly different visions. Roosevelt, who envisioned independent nation states, kept a peace by international body. He had no interest in restoring the old European empires. Churchill, however, he resisted liquidation of the British Empire. Stalin's negotiations left no doubt that he intended to secure influence in Eastern Europe and Asia, and to weaken Germany so that it could never again menace the Soviet Union. When the fighting finally stopped, it was clear that the European Central Order, shocked by the World War I, had been instated by World War II. Empires either lay in ruins or faced dismantling by colonial independence movements. The nation state had emerged as the prevailing political organization. Moreover, the state's reach had expanded as it took on new functions related to post-war reconstruction. So next, I'm going to say the focus questions. The number one is, what challenges did each world bloc face? Well, each country that were fighting in World War II, they had different visions, different conflicts, and different leaders, obviously. So they had to prepare and to protect the people of their countries, because it was a global conflict and it was too dangerous for all the world, all the purposes. So basically, that were the challenges that they faced. The second question is, in what ways was World War II a global conflict? That conflict affected to all the Europe people and the American people and a part of Asia and Africa, because for one part, the Nazis Germany, led by Adolf Hitler, they planned to invade and to dominate all Europe and the Soviet Union, Africa, and a part of Asia. So they were allied with the Japan and Italy. So those three countries, they were planning to dominate all the continent and all the world. And for the other part, Great Britain, led by Churchill, uh, also with the United States and the Soviet Union, they were planning to defend and to protect the people of all over the world, because that was a big problem at that time. And if Germany were won the world will be so different at this time, because the law, the ideology, and all the people today, they will be thinking different. How did the United States try to rebuild Europe and contain the spread of communism? Although the United States was an ally of the Soviet Union, which were communists, they didn't think the same. They wanted the liberation of such hard ideologies, since at that time Europe was recovering from the Nazi ideology. Therefore, they undertook the Marshall Plan. The speech, written by Charles Bondland, took place at Harvard University on June 5 of 1947 and made public the general outline of the contribution to European recovery. Marshall was convinced that economic stability would bring political stability to Europe. To what extent did the colonization involve large-scale violence? The term decolonization appeared after the end of the World War II to refer to the political process promoted by the United Nations to end the largely European colonialism that led to the national independence of several countries, mainly in Africa and Asia. President Roosevelt had Prime Minister Churchill sign the Atlantic Charter, which said that the autonomy of the imperial colonies should be given. Therefore, Great Britain was forced to comply with that after the World War II. England, France, and Israel attacked Egypt. After this, the Bandung Conference was held in April of 1951. At the end of the conference, the 10 Bandung Principles were approved, which are: Number 1. Respect for man. Number 2. Respect for sovereignty. Number 3. Equality. Number 4. No interventions. Number 5. Respect for the nation. Number 6. No agreements. Number 7. No violence. Number 8. Pacific of all. Number 9. Promotion of interest. And number 10. Respect for justice. For the Germans, the invasion of Poland, Austria, France was a success. For the Allies, the Normandy landings, the Battle of Stalingrad, and the final Battle of Berlin was a success, since with these meetings, the Nazi era was ended. And for the United States, the bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the ideal option in order to avoid the loss of more soldiers and to conclude the World War II. For the Germans, the winter during Operation Barbarossa was a complete failure, as it forced them to retreat just as they were about to invade the capital. For the French, the Poles, and the Austrians, the invasion of Nazi Germany was a great failure to all their attempts to avoid war. For the Japanese, the atomic bombs dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki were a failure on their attempts to win the war at all costs. What major fissures developed in the Three World Order? At the end of the World War II, the first fissure was the discovery of the Nazi concentration camps. The war crimes carried out during those years, the division of Germany, was given by the division of the country between the Allies, the United States, Great Britain, and the Soviet Union. Time after that, the Berlin Wall was built, which divided West Germany and the East Germany, which ended up being torn down by the people in the year of 1981. Later rivalries between the powers, the United States and the Soviet Union, produced the so-called Cold War. This war was never given with weapons, but it was a political and social conflict that caused tensions between the two powers due to the construction of nuclear missiles that settled in Cuba. The space race was also one of the rivalries between both powers, and the assassination of President John F. Kennedy occurred during this period of time, which at first was believed to unleash the conflict at the military level. The conclusion is that the Three World Order arose on the ruins of European empires and their Japanese counterparts. First, the Soviet Union and the United States became superpowers. Second, the World War II affirmed the nation state rather than the empire as the primary form for organizing communities. Third, in spite of the rhetoric of individualism and the free market, the war and the post-war reconstruction enhance the reach and functions of the modern state. In the Third World, too, leaders of the new nations saw the state as the primary instrument for promoting economic